Fabrizio Romano said this morning that Napoli's opening bid for Alejandro Garnacho was worth around 50 million euros. It was a package that included KG add-ons. Manchester United, though, want more. 50 million euros is around 42 million pounds, sort of, close to sort of 10-ish million pounds difference still, but a relatively small gap that could be bridged. Antonio Conte keeps pushing after he had a call with Garnacho on Friday, but there is another team involved in this too, because Chelsea have made contact with United, and on the player side, they're now deciding internally whether to bid or not. But the asking price seemingly has been set and also has been reduced.
Wow. Where should we start? Because where do we listen? Let's just get straight into it.
The money, like what? Like, when it's like this much yes, this much no, at least this. I did a poll on the channel probably last week when I put 40 million, 50 million, or 60 million plus, and they all voted, or the majority, should I say, voted for 60 million plus. It looks like we may be near that, but probably slightly below. What are you saying?
I just think I saw someone, Larry was in the chat yesterday, and he said, look, it's all good and well selling a player like Garnacho, but it's how we spend that money. We said was going to reinvest the Greenwood money. People said, have we really seen the money spent from the Greenwood deal? I don't know. I don't know if we can all say that because there was money that we're going to spend. And then the question is with this Garnacho one, what are we going to do with it? And are we going to bring in quality? We kind of missed the mark at times with the levels of player that we have actually bought in for replacement. When people look back, and yes, it can be, we talk about Amrabat versus Fred, or I don't know, any of these players. When you should never say we're missing an old player. We talk about De Gea versus Onana. It's just proof in the pudding. And every day is reminding me that Ineos feel worse than the situation we had before. There's just more people making bad decisions. That's what it's starting to feel like under Ineos. I don't understand what they're doing. There's been no attitude or a great plan towards a transfer window. There hasn't been. Like, this transfer window, we are in the mud. Man United are in a position that they should never be in. And I don't think we've attacked the transfer window in the way you'll expect, like there was a true plan. You've gone and had all these strategic reviews. What did you lot do in that meeting? What happened in those reviews? Because you knew you were bringing this guy in. You knocked on his door and said, come now. There must have been a plan of, as soon as you turn up, this is what we're going to do for you in January. We all can now believe there is no January plan. There's just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what happens. And it's embarrassing. The way we're operating as a club is truly embarrassing. I don't understand it. And the fact that we're this far into the window and you got our manager punching up screens, he weren't doing that. He was as cool as he like in sport. We're breaking the manager in record timing. It's a joke. But yeah, that's just me so far.
Do you know what worries me a little bit is that, okay, if the sort of strategic decision had been made of, and I brought this up the other day with, maybe this is why Garnacho is kind of angling of, actually, I would consider a move to Napoli or Chelsea, because he's like, look, they play 3-4-3 now. They don't play with wingers. I'm a winger. I know my heart of hearts can't really be a 10, can't be a wing back. Yeah. Brighton's a bit on the wall for me, and maybe I just need to go somewhere else. I would go, okay, if United have made that strategic decision, right, we got wingers, too many at the club. Anthony, he's going. Rashford, possibly going. Garnacho, possibly going. And we're going to reinvest it into 10s. We're going to reinvest it into wing backs. I don't trust Ineos to see the project through enough that in 6 months, 12 months time, that we wouldn't bring in another coach and suddenly be like, playing with wingers again, aren't we? And then suddenly we don't have wingers. Suddenly we've got a squad full of wing backs. We've got a squad full of 10s that we don't really need. It goes back to, like I was talking about this yesterday morning. If you sort of scale it back to all of this, or whether you think Garnacho's good or he's bad or he's overhyped, overhated, anywhere in between, the reality is Manchester United are forced to consider selling someone they probably don't want to sell, a homegrown academy player because of pure profit, because they need to fund a rebuild of the squad for a system of a manager they brought in mid-season and knew they had a squad of players that couldn't fit into this system. It goes back to, once again, poor planning and errors of the past that now they are complicit in. Previously, when they just came in at the start, it was, look, PSR, it's a bit of a problem, but we weren't here. You know, that was Woodward, that was Arnold, that was Murto. Bad contracts, bad transfer fees, and we got to try and unpick that. It's going to take some time. And I think largely the fan base was, well, okay, we'll give you time to unpick that. But now they're complicit in these errors. They're complicit in, they gave, obviously, extended Ten Hag's contract, got to pay him off, sacked him. Brought in Dan Ashworth, waited 5 months, sacked him. Now, when they brought in Ruben Amorim, paid money to bring his whole coaching staff in, and then decided mid-season we're going to bring a guy in with a different system, a different philosophy, to a bunch of players that don't fit his system. So now we've got a bankroll, a spend to fit into that system, which we can't afford. So we've got to sell academy players to fund it. That is bad management. That is bad planning. That is bad strategy. And that's why, to KG's point, there is no faith that if they were to sell Garnacho for 60, 65 million pounds, that they would actively reinvest it properly and we would be better off for it. There is the faith, and there was a little of it because we're skeptical of ownership anyway, but the faith, it's gone, isn't it? It's been completely eroded.
Yeah, there's a reason why basically we're well, I can say I'm on edge and nervy around some of the decisions that will happen from here on out because of all the things you just listed there. 100% agree with what you're saying. And when I did that Flex's view yesterday, coming back home, when I was like, that's my main thing. You have to look at the reasons why he's going to be sold, because also one of the other big points is, like you said, Owen, if we're looking at backing this manager and getting this manager the stuff he wants, is he in control enough, or has he got enough power to
needs? Not
exactly.
Even wants,
needs. Needs. Has he got enough about him or enough influence in there to be able to say, I have had a look, and you know what? If there was someone you're going to sell because he's sellable, I'm gonna have to say he doesn't really fit what I'm trying to do anyway. He doesn't really fit. So you know what? Yes, if you can give me a chunk of money that I can use now that we've agreed on this target, whatever, and that's attainable, yes, green tick from me. Or is he saying, I'd quite like to keep him though. I think, you know, we do need players who can play out wide. We do need players who I want to get my teeth into, I want to develop, and there's something there. Or is it Ineos coming in saying, listen, in order just for you to get, you know, some wing backs, to get the specialist things you need in this thing, he's going to have to be one of the first to go. Because you have to talk about sellable assets. It's all good about talking about raising money, but exactly who is sellable in our team? This is where we can know. This is why we just immediately pivot and go, Rashford and you, Garnacho. Kobe Mainoo was mentioned, of course, because that's another one where you look at and go, yeah, well, sellable if the big money comes in.
Can we look at that now?
Rashford ain't sellable. Rashford
and
he's
not sellable. Yeah, he's not sellable now.
Sellable.
But overall, like in the summer, like he's sellable. What I'm saying, he's someone you can sell for like
he's not
40, 50.
He's not
in the summer. He is.
He's not.
We can get 40 million.
It's we'll probably end up now because we have the.
So we can't sell Rashford now. That's it.
Look at
not in this window. Like we won't be able to sell him.
All right, so we'll get to what we're going to do with Rashford because it's a big conversation, right? If we don't get him the Barcelona move, Rashford has to be reintegrated to the squad and he has to score goals for us to raise his value for him to leave in the summer. That's a lot of ifs. That's someone that doesn't work hard. That's someone that can't play the 10. That's someone that he doesn't want to see in the 9. Rashford ain't pressing like Ahmad. So now you have a problem of a depreciating asset that's not the manager's favor. He doesn't really like him. Yes, they're doing a bit of, everyone's doing PR, saying, hey, he's training hard, double sessions. Actually, double sessions, my ass, mate. That guy's not serious. That guy is not serious at all. Like, and the coach, manager, however you want to call him, he can see it. If we're talking about letting the game go and we're not being in control, this is why you're seeing players. That news about Kobe being for sale and Garnacho being for sale, that was the dog whistle. It was a blatant one. And the fact that we're happy to negotiate with Chelsea, a team that's a rival, we are happy to say, here you go. Here's one of our up-and-coming young players. You can have him for 65 million. So you can't now write off and say, hey, let's look at the Kobe situation and see what's going on there. We have two assets that are value for money that will sort out our PSR. Excuse me. That will sort out our PSR. Everything. That's my wife. That's early. She didn't know I was doing the show, to be honest. Yeah, but we have two players that can sort out this situation, and there's nothing we can do. That we want to sell these players so we can rebuild the team, and it's an embarrassment. It's a damning indictment on what Man United has become. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, it is. Joe Fleming says, I'm saying sell to Napoli for 55 million with 50% sell on. Fleming says, don't sell to Chelsea for less than 70 million. F them. Listen, I'm on trying to just, you know what I mean, exploit some other teams, because how many times do we get serious and sell properly, or sell for like what the player probably isn't even worth? Like, it happens. Every other team manages to do it. And for once, we're talking about a few of the sellable assets then. Okay, you say Kobe Mane, you say Garnacho. You maybe don't say Rashford for certain reasons, but how many times do we oversell? Never is the answer, really. Kevin says Brighton would get at least 70 million for Garnacho. Oh, yeah. If he was some young up-and-coming, you know what I mean? You know what Brighton are on. You know what they're on. WJ Barrett says, guys, we need to stop with the who we're going to replace him with. We're selling him because he ain't that good and don't fit the system. This dude will be off in 2 years anyway. He thinks he's CR7. Get rid now.